Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Exploring Avatar. I know we're probably a couple days late, but we're finally starting it. We're starting our live discussion going through Avatar Avatar: The High Ground Volume 1. This might take like 3 parts, but we're going to see how much we can get through in about an hour. But yeah, thank you for everyone, that's joining us right now. And let's just say a couple hellos. But first of all, how are you doing, Drew?
I'm doing good, Jerry. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good, man. Excited to finally dive into this one. We've, hyped it up so much. We've talked about it a lot. But yeah, finally getting into it.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I mean, it's a book that's kind of hard for some people to get their hands on still, with it being comic shop exclusive currently.
Yeah.
But man, there's a lot of great content in it.
Yeah, there really is. That's why we're like, this might take more than even just 2 streams. But, I hope you guys stick with us if you enjoy it. But yeah, we'll go through, from the beginning to end, and we'll just see how long it takes us to do it. Today, we'll try to see how far we get into, about an hour. So, but yeah, let's shout out a couple people. We have Christina in here, says hi. As always, thank you so much for always supporting and tuning in. Brianna Brown says hello, everyone. Montano Productions says what's up, guys. Hi, everyone. Aftem Child also, like always. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Sorry if it's really late or early for everybody. This is probably a weird time slot, but it's what works for us for some live shows. Let's see here. Montano already has a question asked, do you think it would have made a good movie if they went with that script? Throw it to you first, Drew. Without any spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, even though we've only read one of the 3 volumes so far, yeah, I really think it would have. And that's another thing. If you guys haven't read it and you don't want to be spoiled, this isn't the stream to be watching, because we're covering the whole book. So not tonight, but throughout the series, we're going to be covering the whole book. So yeah, stop now if you don't want to be spoiled.
Spoilers ahead. Stop watching now if you do not want to know. But if you are finding it very difficult to get a hold of it, if maybe around you locally you can't even get it, or you don't mind seeing some spoilers now while you still wait for your physical copy from the other major retailers, then by all means, tune in. And don't worry, Brianna Brown, we got the pictures. We got all the pictures. I tried to do it as best as I could. We are going to go through panel by panel. But because there's no digital version of it yet, apologies for any, if they don't look the best. We have to actually take pictures of the, of the physical hardcover volume. So, but yes, pictures are coming. And other than that, we can dive in pretty soon. Some guy says not spoilers if this is the only way I can view it. Yeah, pretty much. And and it's not like it's, I still feel kind of weird, Drew, because it still kind of feels like it's leaked material or something that you have. But I mean, they just went this weird route where, trying to help the local comic shops, but it's just become very difficult to get a hold of it,
Well, if you want to know what's crazy, I actually got an email yesterday from Amazon, because I still have them on pre-order through them. I'm going to cancel it, but I still currently have all the pre-orders through Amazon. And Volume 2 is now set for January the 10th, as of yesterday.
January the 10th?
Yep. And Volume 3, I think, is still showing in December. So it's going to be pushed back as well, obviously.
Oh my God, guys. So, I mean, we're about to get into it, don't worry. But basically, this release date calendar is already outdated. Wow, I did not know that, Drew. Wow, I didn't know that. That is insane. Right, January?
I placed my order
Wow.
on Monday, July 4th, and a new estimated delivery date, Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. That's awful.
That is insane. Wow, guys. Well, you guys are in for some scoops, I guess, because now you're waiting like 2 months for major retailers to get them. That is insane. Yeah, what a weird launch indeed, some guy. All right, but please spoil everything now. All right, let's without further ado, let's obviously, we're covering just the first volume, and we'll start diving into that. Let me get it set up here. Okay, so page 1, and so you guys know the way I'm doing it is I'm kind of like taking a physical picture. We Drew took a picture of every page, and I kind of split them in half to kind of make it the panels like more visible and the text readable. If you guys want to read, every single text, I don't think we're gonna read every single word blurb. Maybe just the most important ones, but we will show you guys every section of the page. So hopefully this works for you guys. But yeah, let's start diving in. Obviously, a few of these we kind of saw in the preview pages, right, Drew? I believe this is the same beginning to those preview pages.
Yeah, it is. And again, we're sorry for the quality. We didn't really take pictures with the intentions of sharing them. It was just something we were doing while we were going over the book. But since there is no digital files, this is the best way we have to get it out there to you.
Yeah. So obviously, this is the blue ones right here. The word boxes are actually Jake talking. So he's kind of saying Pandora, what Earth once was, she is. And then, that he would die to protect her. And then he claims, interestingly, this is the story of the time of great sorrow when darkness swallowed the world. And I believe I brought it up before, Drew, that it kind of seems like a tiny bit of a retcon, whereas we thought in the, obviously the first movie, I think the line is something like the time of great sorrow was ending, Taruk Makto was no longer needed. But now It seems like they're kind of making it, whereas I believe all this whole saga of the sequels will now be considered the full time, the time of great sorrow, instead of just, the events from just that first movie.
Yeah, I think Jake got a little ahead of himself by saying the time of great sorrow was ending at the end of Avatar 1.
Yeah. So we continue, and it's kind of just like a little recap, a cameo of Drew's finger right there. Recap of the final battle of the first movie. So he says, you can't understand the time of great sorrow without understanding what we endured the first time we fought the Sky People. The first time. So the events of the first movie obviously were just the first time that they fought them. And let's see here. And it's just more scenes,
Yeah, just recapping what we saw at the last battle in the first movie.
Yeah. So Quaritch there, final battle with Jake. We see Neytiri shoot the arrows towards Quaritch. Let's see. Do you want to tackle these Jake quotes right here?
Sure. And here in the back, you see Quaritch dead, killed by Neytiri. We drove the alien invaders back to their home, beyond the sky, Earth. But there isn't a day that goes by I don't mourn the loss of our friends, our families, the warriors I sent to their deaths, as their leader, the great Taruk Makto. Of the home tree that sheltered the people for thousands of years, now it feels like it all happened to somebody else.
Yep. And then we see there, looks like, that's his, the human Jake body right there being buried. Taruk flying in that above panel. And here we finally get to some new material that you guys, haven't seen in the preview pages. And so he continues, who knew there was so much living yet to do? We see Jake there with a pregnant Neytiri, it looks like, in the panel there at the top. And then towards the bottom, maybe I'm the one to tell this story because I'm of both worlds and neither. No longer human, but never entirely Navi. And then what looks like, Neytiri about to, give birth. And then the bottom of that page, basically, Neteyam is born, the son of Jake Sully. And what looks like Norm there, what looks like Norm's avatar. Well, Norm will be an interesting character we touch upon in a little bit. But it also says, "This is my home, my family. It's where I belong." So there we go, guys. That's the birth of Neteyam right there. See what anybody's saying so far. Some guys saying loving the art in this so far. Thumbs up.
really
Christina says he. What was that?
Sorry, Jerry. I really love that
no
first
problem.
shot where we first see Neytiri and Jake. I think, I believe it's the top of this page. The stream before. Yeah, I love that with the sunset.
Yeah, that one looks great. Sun setting and then the bioluminescence kicking in right there. Yeah, that's a good shot right there, man.
One thing that is a little bit hard for us is it is a little hard to keep track of what character is what. Which character is who once we start getting the kids involved. So sometimes that gets a little dicey.
And it's probably especially because we're taking these actual pictures of the physical book. I'm sure if we had the digital files, it'd be easier. So sometimes just kind of bear with us there. But we'll continue here. Let's see. You want to do that one?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a dad now, if you believe that. And not just our own kid. Not V families raise orphans as their own. That's how Kiri came to us.
So there we go. Kiri, war orphan, and basically explaining right there how Kiri came to them. So they have Neteyam and Kiri at that point. Whoa, what's going on here?
Somebody got a little spam happy. Yeah, that is interesting. It's interesting that we already see Kiri here because we've got. I mean, this is where the art gets a little fun. I think we've got Jake, Neytiri, Neteyam, and then Kiri, and then I believe Neytiri is pregnant with Loak.
Yeah. Yep. And exactly, some guy. They wasted no time jumping into them having kids. Yeah, this book just kind of dives right in. Quicker than I even anticipated, honestly. McLean Keller says, I love how the humans are a little more included now with no war going on, because I remember Grace saying outsiders were strictly forbidden. Yeah. They really talk about that now it's kind of in, it's really at peace between, the humans that stayed behind and the Na'vi there. So it's a really peaceful time at the moment. So let's continue. And we didn't stop there. Another son, Loak, and our youngest, Tuktiri, our little Tuk. The people were growing, replacing what we'd lost, Na'vi and human living together. It was something to see. But kids grow up, Na'vi kids grow up even faster, and nothing lasts forever, does it? Man, pretty ominous right there. But this is the little shot of Norm, right? That we were kind of like. First, we had to determine if that was really Norm, but it really looks like an avatar Norm.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, the art, it is kind of hard to tell who's who, because Norm seems to kind of switch between wearing his vest and a red shirt and his vest and a hat.
Yeah.
with no shirt, but I'm pretty sure that's always Norm.
Yeah, so
And
yeah, I think we kind of realized we're like, oh wait, this one's calling him daddy. So I guess he has like Navi children.
well, from this photo, it looks like he has about 27 Navi children.
I think the whole village, Jake's like, man, I'm so happy, man. I had my first son. He's like, wow, I'm on 28, but that's great, man. That's great. Man,
no,
it
it
was
really does. It does seem to be Norm the father, which is pretty cool.
yeah, man, that's pretty awesome. Wow, Norm took no time at all to really settle in. But all right, we'll continue here.
Another one of the pages that we got in the preview pages.
Yeah, so we kind of won't spend too much time. This is we have Nethayam, Jake, and Loak. Loak is about to do his Iknimaya, if I remember correctly. They're kind of preparing for that. They're talking to him about it. Nethayam's kind of like poking jabs at him. And this is where we do, interestingly though, at the bot right there at the end. Jake's like, Kiri didn't basically give you a hard time like this, and Nethayam's like, yeah, she did. And he's like, you're right. We can't all be like Kiri. And that's where we get this bottom portion where very interestingly he reveals, come on, kick in. That she was an odd one, Kiri. Only kid I've ever seen just ask an Ikran to be her friend. So our first little indication here of what even, especially this recent official trailer, has been pointing out. So, that she has this special connection to, both the flora and fauna of Pandora, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a little bit cut off. Let's see. Maybe it's just where I have my screen. Okay, yeah. And it's something you notice a lot in whether it be the trailer, the teaser, or even in this book. It seems like anytime Kiri's around and they're making note specifically of her, she's either looking at a plant, doing something with an animal. Like, again, they're just insinuating that there's something very special about her.
Exactly. And then we have right here, they say, don't forget about Spider. And Jake says, trust me, I won't. And we didn't get this in the preview pages, but here we get the top of the following page. And very interesting. You want to read what that little blue blurb from Jake says?
Yes. Miles Spider Socorro, another war orphan, like Kiri, but he adopted us. He's got a human foster family at Hell's Gate, but at heart, this kid's all not V.
This place is insane.
Hey, you nailed the voice perfectly. Pretty cool, huh, bro? No stragglers, boys. Let's go. And something interest to note there is originally when we saw Jack Champion, who plays Spider, they listed his name as Javier, and now his first name is changed to Miles. Something we've known for a little while, but we weren't sure if it was an accident, a typo, but finally have confirmation that his name is indeed Miles.
Exactly. And I think it always was, to be honest, but I believe, they kind of had to like backtrack for a little bit and maybe throw us off the scent by saying it was Javier, because that like you said, the very first time we saw that initial picture where he's, breaching the water, kind of like Apocalypse Now, they called him Miles Spider Socorro, and then it, interestingly was like, oh yeah, sorry, that was a mix-up. It's actually Javier Spider Socorro. Dude, who who else do we know in the Avatar universe? With who the only other person we know called Miles,
Right.
and
the bad guy himself.
Exactly.
So yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, why they would want to keep his name secret. I mean, otherwise, a couple years ago we would have been talking about then. Well, is this Quaritch's son, or why is his name Miles of all the names out there?
Miles, and then you got the whole Miles Spider, Miles Morales into the Spider-Verse. But yeah, basically, we have it here in the comments. So his name really is Miles. Was getting used to it being Javier. Yeah, it really is Miles. Charlie Wood says, I don't even remember it being Javier. Yeah, for a while, they only really mentioned Miles that one time, if I remember correctly. The very first time we ever saw that first picture, and I believe that was the first, picture of anything Avatar 2 aside from concept art. That was our first look at the actual movie. But other than that, it became Javier after that. And then I believe they just started to actually just focus on the nickname Spider, right? Because even lately, yeah, I really haven't heard the whole Javier, but they've just really kept using Spider now. They're just let's just not complicate it. But
Same
yeah,
here. I always hear him called Spider, especially after
yeah,
everyone was confused whether it was Javier or Miles. It's like, let's just go with Spider.
exactly. And we'll continue right now, but this is the first hint, just obviously like Montano Production says, Miles Jr. I don't want to 100% call it, but let's just say that, let's continue and see if we can, in this stream, get to another very, very almost conclusive, part that kind of seals it for me. You know what I mean? But let's just, let's continue here. All right. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so we get to the point where Loak is gonna attempt to bond with an Ikran for the first time. But if anybody has seen the preview pages, we already know it doesn't go that well for the first time. I love the color of that first one though, right? Because it's a little different than all the other base colors. I think we were just talking about this in the last stream, where we want to see more variation like this on just the base, the actual base color, and not just the little accents.
Yeah, it's awesome seeing one that's orange and yellow. I mean, he doesn't scream Taruk, but some of the same main colors definitely they share.
Yeah, and very little accents on the body and wings, unlike the other ones where it's very prominent. This one, it looks like mostly that base color is the most prominent thing. There's just kind of shadowing and lightness on the rest of it. But yeah, he's trying to attempt to bond with that first one here, and that's just what these few pages are. Seems to be having a hard time.
And there we get a better shot kind of the coloring. Actually do see some blue on it as well. It's very much like Taruk inspired, but I love it.
Yeah. Wait, did I miss the one? No, I didn't miss it yet. And that's when Jake starts getting a little worried. That's enough. Neytiri's like, no, it's the Navi way. Like Drago said, Rocky 4, he dies. He dies. Here we go. Why am I going backwards? He almost gets it, and looks like at the end he gets a headbutt to the face, gets bucked off. Bum, bum, bum. Where is? and actually looks like he falls down this cliff, and luckily he's saved by that little protruding part of this the floating mountains. And right away he's like
yeah, he has that Jake spirit in him though. He just got
yep.
knocked off. Could have died, but first thing he says is, I gotta try again.
Yep. Can't give up. And he's like, Mom, everybody's watching. Give that thumbs up. He's good. And he's like, I can do it. It's like, nope, you're done for today, bro.
Which is kind of funny to see, because I would have loved to have seen someone try to tell Jake that.
Exactly.
That's another beautiful shot. I'm really liking
I love that.
Sunset views.
Yeah, that top one's really good. And then looks like they're landing here at a little camp.
Yeah, that looks like the RDA camp where we first see Jake after he leaves the medical facility with his body for the first time.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sweet. Let's see here. Hold on. I think I'm missing 26. See if I can patch that in really quick. I don't know why it seems like I was missing a couple of them. So hold on. Just uploading the next one really quick. Here we go. Okay. And we have Neytiri, I believe, telling him, I told you to watch out for that headbutt, little brother. And then Spider's like, don't forget you got bucked off too, Neytiri. It's like, yeah, but I didn't fall off a cliff. And basically, we just have him asking again, can he try again? And Jake actually says, wait like another season, maybe 2. It's like 2 seasons. And that's where we already see that that family, that dad Jake, kick in already. That new personality we're probably going to see more of in the sequels as well.
Sounding a lot like Uncle Owen here.
Oh God, no! But we know what happened with Uncle Owen. Don't bring that in. Don't bring that juju in here, bro.
Hey, it's that word season that reminded me.
Yeah, and then that last one we have Neytiri being like, "Hey, Dad, but I'm a pretty good flyer, right?" He's like, nervously, "Yeah." So, I figure I'm ready to go with you on a training mission. To the black world, which I believe it's what they're just calling space, right?
Yeah, the first time I read this, I was just kind of like, the black world. What is that? But yeah, it's simply space is what they're referring to.
Yeah, yeah.
Which we kind of get a hint at, when we see him in the next frame. Say, but I'm checked out in the vac suit. I'm good to go. The vac suit meaning
Exactly.
the space suits that we see from the cover of Volume 2.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just Jake pointing out, man, you guys are in an awful hurry to grow up, and get yourselves killed. Ooh, telling that to Neytiri, all those theories we got going around. But he says he'll think about it. And then see, how's everybody liking it so far in the chat? Pretty good so far. Here we got 28. You know, he's like pestering him. He's like, I said, I'll think about it. And just mentions, you know, it's Neytiri, right? Saying that Loak wasn't ready for the Iknimaya yet.
Yeah, that's Jake and Neytiri in the back with Moad up with the kids.
Yeah, you know, Jake's like, so it's my fault, you know. I thought he could do it. You want to get these right here?
Yeah. Someday they're going to have to fight the Sky People. They have to be ready. Someday is not today, Jake. Let them be boys a bit longer. It's not like I was pushing him. He was begging me every day. He was pushing himself. Yes, he is like you. What, fearless or stupid or... Hey, don't blame the extra digit. That's what everyone thinks. It didn't stop me. She's right, and you're still in one piece. High four, bro. You mean like me? Too human? That's not what I meant. Na'vi children also die in Iknimaya.
Jeez.
Na'vi children also. So what does that make Loak? Our son, and I love him, as I love you, absolutely. I know.
And then we have just a little gathering there at the bottom.
And I believe that's Norm, right? This is kind of like what we were talking about, how like Norm has a red shirt sometimes, a hat sometimes, but like the one constant is like the pants and the vest.
The pants and the vest. Oh my god. Dude, Norm, another huge, you know, thing this comic spoil or tells us, he can play the violin, dude. Man.
And all the Na'vi that are around Norm are actually his children.
They're his children. Oh god, this is just him babysitting, and he has to do something to entertain that many kids, bro. He had to learn all these instruments. Oh my god. As Jake's just down there, instead of a violin, he's like, I play this gun.
Yeah, cleaning his gun. But it does. It just shows how much Jake is trying to enjoy his family and the moment and how good life is, but at the same time, he knows what's coming.
He can't.
So he can't fully enjoy himself.
Exactly. And you know, and I've reiterated before, it's why I love that little added scene to the remaster that, you know, for most people it's like nothing. But I love that this comic has like ran with that idea where you see basically, you know, a dad that, you know, he's trying to be, you know, there is time of peace and he's trying to enjoy it, like you said, but it's like at the same time, he's constantly thinking like they need to be ready, you know, that they're gonna return, you know, and everything. And it's just that little seed. I love that little scene because it's you know, Selfridge just planted a little seed in his mind, you know. It's like, you know, they're gonna be back. So now it's like, look at this, like all these, and this has probably been going on for years, you know, that he's been trying to enjoy it, yet he hasn't been able to at the same time. So it's like, man, like to think, you know, that's years of, you know, life with your kids that you can't fully, you know, embrace it and just like be in the moment and have fun with it. You know, that must really suck. And just to go from that to the events that we're going to see play out either in this series and in the sequel movies, basically it's like he didn't have a time ever, you know, to fully enjoy the piece, you know.
Plus, another thing we learned on this in that last panel there is Neytiri mentioned something I hadn't heard of before. It's called the laws of Eywa. You shall not set stone upon stone, nor use the turning wheel, neither shall you. And then it continues into the next page. But that was something I hadn't heard of before.
Oh, really?
Neither shall you use the metals of the ground. Yeah, has that been mentioned before?
It has, but most recently I can recall it from that new the DK book that we got this year. What was it called? The World of the world of Avatar. It's in one of those sections, I believe, when they're in one of the sections in the book, in the Navi, the big Navi section. It does state it in there. And I'm like, okay, that's why. And I can't really recall where or where I saw it before that, but I did recently see it in that book. So that's pretty pretty interesting. I like that connection there.
Does it?
And it explains why they're not supposed to use them.
Oh, really?
Sorry?
I didn't realize that. I'll have to find that and reread that.
Yeah. Yeah, it states it in there. Basically, that's why they live in that like nomadic way. And honestly, I think that's actually a bigger deal than what we might even think right now initially, because it just gets you to ask questions like, okay, well, who really set these rules? How do we really know these are Eywa's rules? Why are these Eywa's rules? It kind of seems like something, it's like you would give rules to something so that they don't do it, but it's like, why? Like, who? I don't know. It gets me to think like a bigger picture. Like, I don't know if the sequels will ever dive into that, but it gets me to think. A lot of people have said, honestly, their history goes back. If you read, especially like the DK book recently, it tells you they've been around thousands of years before even humans were supposedly like the time humans have been on Earth. You know what I mean? Like their history goes back like even further than our human history. And it's just crazy that from the beginning, somehow these laws were put into place. And it's like, for what purpose? Was it really Eywa, or, who interpreted that? And since then, they literally haven't gone out of this basically, what would you call it, like the nomadic ways in which they live and everything because of these rules. So I love that there is an explanation like why, even though they've, have had a longer history than our history, why they've remained, in the state that they have, where it's like they haven't, done the further technology and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? When they probably could have.
Which raises an interesting point because, boy, I love Jake Sully. I think he's awesome, but as a character. But if I was a Metkayina member, I don't know. I think I would have had a hard time accepting Jake Sully.
Yeah, like if you put yourself in the shoes of like an actual like Tonowari or something. Yeah,
or if I was a member of the actual tribe, I mean,
yeah,
he was Taruk Makto. He's an avatar. I mean, they even talked about how his alien smell filled their nose. Like he's not just an alien on looks alone. I mean, I think plus seeing now that he still has guns and everything, it's not hard to see why the members may not all be fully in on him, which is issues we've seen in previous comic series as well.
Because basically, it's kind of like a walking, what do you call it? Like a walking contradiction to basically what they've known literally throughout their entire history. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And but actually, if we go back right there, I believe that was pretty and he says, I know the 3 laws, but I also know the RDA. We can't fight a gunship with bows and arrows. And Neytiri's like, I can. And he's like, look, I was taught that the most powerful weapon in the world is a Marine and his rifle, in that order. I may not be human anymore, but I'll always be a Marine. But Jake, this is not your world. It is our world, our home. We are not like the sky people. And he's like, I am. But our children do not have to be, and neither do you. Come dance with me, my Marine.
It is interesting how there's some things he's still not very willing to give up.
Exactly, yeah. I was just gonna point that out, that it's still interesting that there's certain things he's not completely 100% like, forget my entire past, human life. And I believe, a lot of that is important. A lot of that is, it makes him, who he is and why we like him. So it's good that not all of that, because basically it's because of a lot of those human elements of his character, of his personality, that he even got to the point that we saw at the end of the first movie. So I love that it's still not completely lost, even though, now completely transferred his consciousness to only be in the Avatar body. He's still keeping some of those things around. And we got Norm with everybody in that picture, aside from what looks like maybe Jake. They're all his kids, even human ones.
The Nick fam, right? Yeah. So,
my God.
That raises an interesting point. Norm has his avatar body, obviously, so he can also be human as well when he's not in his avatar body. So could it be that he has a family in human form and in avatar form? I doubt it, but it kind of looks that way.
Montano production, Norm and all his kids. Christina, a good point, brings up, apparently the once a Marine, always a Marine thing is super common. It's stereotypical, cliche, but I like it. I like it in this term, but oh my God, guys. And if this is true, if guys, this could be like the most important breakthrough picture. If Norm has both Na'vi and human kids, man, he's like the most scandalous man. Man, this guy's insane. the Na'vi Brady bunch.
Norm. This is though why Norm's kind of confusing in this book. Just his various looks.
And we still haven't even officially seen him confirmed for Avatar 2, aside from like a flashback in his underwear. Once again, dude, just peak Norm. We're just getting peak. This is Norm in his prime right here, guys. These years right here, rocking and rolling, dude. Round 2, between Loak and a Ikran. Another great coloring on this Ikran, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Unlike something that we've seen before too.
Yeah. And another one where the markings aren't like 100% like, the main thing that you see. I like, it's the base colors are the most prominent there. So here we go. He's trying again. Love this from the preview pages. We saw this right here. Still love this pose from Jake. I don't know if it's like I want to see, I don't want to see. I don't.
Neytiri is showing us that she is in fact a Trekkie.
Oh my God. It's a little hint right there that Zoe Saldana is also in the Star Trek movies. So, oh my God. And then we had Kiri gasping. And, before these preview pages came out, when, a prominent theory out there was that Kiri was, she would be using the sign language in the movie. And then he accomplishes it. This is Loak's Ikran right here. But I love that right here. I don't know if it's really to point that out, but we might see that he has like such a easier time in the water, in the ocean with those creatures. And it shows here that, he had to try twice to complete the Iknimaya here for, the forest setting and all this over here. Let's see. And then Jake, continuing, now I know what you're thinking. This is supposed to be the story of the time of great sorrow, and it is, because to understand great sorrow, you need to understand how much we lost. So just ominously pointing out that this big picture of the family there, that panel, that a lot of that might be lost. You know what I mean? Throughout these sequels.
Yeah, and again, it kind of goes back to that theme where here we are. I mean, this is a great time in their life. Loak just, completed Iknimaya. It's beautiful. The whole family's there, but Jake's got the RDA on his mind. He knows what's coming.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Perfectly segues right into that. You want to do these little quotes here from Jake?
Sure. Earth, it's light years away, but it's always right here on my mind. The more we have, the more I know they want it back. And they'll be back. Trouble is, the people can't see it, and I'm the one that's got to show them. But haven't they lost enough?
And then we just have
Tuke saying, Dad, come on, Papa, we're going to be late.
Exactly.
This is the trouble with sky people, Tuke. They always have their heads in the clouds. We Na'vi put our hearts into it.
Another great shot. Nighttime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of that one in the official trailer recently, huh? With Jake and Neytiri flying at night.
Absolutely.
And looks to be Moet. I don't think we're gonna say that whole thing, but
could you sing it for us all, perhaps?
Oh my god! And that is a big O negativo. But I will
basically
click.
She's singing to Eywa. I'll just read it real quick because it actually does have a lot of importance. We sing to you, elder brother of home and hearth and family. We beseech you, elder brother, to join with us, this clan. The people crave your shelter. Let us dwell within your arms.
And then, let's see, go down here. Oh my god. Oh my god. Now Norm doesn't have a shirt on again.
So basically, they've all gathered in a ceremony, and they need a new place to live, and so they're just trying to find another home tree for the clan, the Metkayina clan, to move to.
Exactly. And then, Jake's like, I hate to rain on everybody's parade. And then Norm's like, better rain than bullets. Jesus. He says exactly.
This is something interesting. Oh, go ahead, buddy.
Oh no! Yeah, go ahead and point it out.
We learn who the Circle of Elders is, which we see a little bit more in the upcoming pages. But it's interesting that we're seeing more than what I believe is just a Metkayina. We get to see a couple different groups who are helping make bigger decisions for the Na'vi people more than just by clan basis.
Exactly. And I think we got that hinted at too in the recent picture when James Cameron broke down, those 4 scenes. I think they referenced it there, right? That it's basically hinted at in the movie that they've met before, and it's something you'd see play out in the high ground. That Jake has met Tonowari before in one of these gatherings of like the elders and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe so. Which is awesome. That'd be cool if he shows up somewhere.
Yeah. This elder brother chooses us just as we choose him. Signs tell us that Eywa blesses this union.
I was a little confused the first time I read this, but
Mm-hmm.
this page right here explains what's going on here, why they're calling it a brother, etc.
Yeah.
The Metkayina people have a new home.
Another great panel right there too.
It is, and I mean, super excited to see that they're moving into a new home tree. I mean, I was curious how that would work. Would it be another tree? Would they find somewhere else to live?
Yeah. Here we go at last. Come children, let us give thanks as a family. Come on, Spider. And then and here's like that first little kind of pushback from Neytiri on the whole Spider situation. She's like, this is a family gathering, Kiri. And Spider's like, it's okay. Sorry, Miss Sully. Not
Which is
fully
interesting
embracing him
because
at this moment.
no, yeah, it definitely shows that Neytiri doesn't view him as family.
Yeah. I mean, and at least they did point out here that he does actually have a human a human family did adopt him, but it's kind of like he chose the Sully family, like he kind of adopted them. You know what I mean?
Right.
He feels more comfortable and more at home, even with his physical limitations. He feels more comfortable with them and with Pandora in general instead of the whole his actual human side. And then here he
And
goes, like, no. Yeah.
it becomes obvious that Kiri really has a tight relationship with Spider as well.
Exactly. It's like, no, we are his family, and this is his home too. I believe Jake says wait. Continue. I think Norm and that top panel right there has entered the family circle, or is that somebody else?
I'm not for sure. It kind of wouldn't make sense for it to be anybody else, but as different as he looks from panel to panel, it's honestly kind of confusing.
Yeah. And here's, Jake saying again, this is certainly joyous news, but when the Sky People return, because he literally just cannot enjoy anything without thinking of, humans returning, the RDA, we will be targets. We put our elder brother at great risk by living here. You have warned of this for years, Jake Sully, but they have not come. Eywa drove them from our land.
So it's more than just Jake, thinking this in his head. Obviously, this
Yeah.
is something he's repeated over and over to other not be like, hey, they're coming back, guys.
God, he's starting to look like the crazy uncle. You're like, yeah.
That hair in that panel, yeah, he is.
Oh my God. Perhaps they will never come. Perhaps, it is all in your mind. And then Neytiri is just like, come on, like now's not the time, to keep bringing this up. She's just like, come, let us all sing. And I believe, I don't know if it's Neytiri or Jake that's singing here, but we are all seeds of the great tree, whose strength is in our legs. And I apologize for this page here, that bottom panel especially. It's kind of hard to see, but it's another, they're flying around on their Ikrans, and it says the song continues like the mighty trunks in our arms as sheltering branches. And He's basically just saying that, Moet should have consulted him first.
And there you're kind of seeing a little bit of the power dynamic. Jake is clan leader, but there's more to... The clan leader doesn't make every decision, essentially. He's not the ultimate authority. Other people have their roles as well.
Exactly.
And Moat's doing what she thinks is best for everyone, even though she knows Jake's feelings on the RDA.
Yeah. Like Neytiri says right here, they need hope. They need a little bit of hope right now. Because honestly, at this point, it's been literally years, since they've had, a new place to call home or anything, It's been what, maybe... I mean, we don't know exactly. I don't think the Volume 1 confirms how long it has been. I don't, if I recall correctly. But we'll say 13 years or so, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there. And from what we know from past comic series is I believe they're living right by Hell's Gate currently.
Yeah, that's where they were right outside, and I believe some of the humans that stayed behind were occupying the actual Hell's Gate. And he's just reiterating the invasion is coming. Just a matter of time. And here is where it starts to really get, we're kind of getting to the end here of our first, stream going through this. But I believe this are going to be some last very interesting pages. It ramps up right here with, Kiri and Spider. Looks like they're landing. They're going to head into a facility. And she's like, come on, monkey boy. Keep up. Yeah, he's in front of her. And Jake asks,
who is this homeless Navi right here saying, where's Kiri?
Oh my god. True. Oh, hey, they literally just found their home. So they really were homeless for many years, Drew. Okay, that's very sensitive.
That's true.
Oh man. Take that
Some
back.
of the art really does vary though from panel to panel. It makes it a little bit hard to follow, but yeah, obviously it is Jake saying, where's Kiri? And Neytiri's like, where do you think?
Oh, with that boy, because that's how she talks right now. When she refers to Spider, but yeah, so here we go. Kiri's putting on, the one obviously that we saw in that picture with her in the lab. Obviously probably a very similar lab. It seems like this is probably a lab they revisit a lot. But yeah, she's putting on the breather, obviously, because they're entering a human facility. And Spider has the card to go in. And here we go. You got those avatar tubes right there. And yeah, they're kind of, looking at the basically what we heard Jake say in the original movie, my feet are getting tougher. I can run farther every day. And Spider says, so weird to see your dad all pink and tiny. And Kiri says, and my mom fell in love with him anyway. And he's like, she hates me. More of his little quote. I have to trust my body to know what to do. With Neytiri. And then she's like, she loves you. And so do I. You're like the brother I never had. And I've already got two. Yeah. But your parents are heroes. Mine were Navi killers. And she says, hey, monkey boy, my dad was a Marine too. He just figured out he was on the wrong side. Besides, we aren't our parents.
Big stuff right there. Spider saying
Yeah.
that his parents were not the killers.
Kind of already, insinuating he might even have a hint at who they are, if he already knows that they're Navi killers. So obviously they were in the side of the RDA during the time of that battle. And you want to get some of these quotes here that you find relevant?
Yeah, we've got Spider saying, right, you don't even know who your real dad is. And Kiri's saying, sure, I'm adopted, but they are my real family. And so are you. Then we go back to Jake and Neytiri. I don't like her spending so much time with that boy. He's trouble. He's an orphan. Can't you cut him some slack? There's a saying on Earth, the sins of the father should not be visited on the son. Which, before I go to the next panel, again, we're hinting at sins of the father.
Yeah.
Spider's dad, not a good dude.
Yeah.
And Neytiri doesn't even know what a sin is. And Jake says, a bad thing. Bad things people do.
Yeah. And here, before we move on, the line from Spider here, right? You don't even know who your real dad is. I'm still not 100% certain because I know we just did our last stream where we touched on Kiri's origins and how they worded it there. But somebody left a comment during that video of ours, during that stream underneath, and they made a good point. They made a good point in saying that, where it says naturally conceived, that's whoever wrote the article, that's their words. The only actual quotes from James Cameron were just saying that she was that it was a natural birth from Grace's avatar, but not that the conception was natural. I thought that was actually a pretty good point, that he said what could have happened, or he or she, I don't remember exactly. What could have happened was that the writer of the article, because they did get the quote natural birth from Grace's avatar body, just kind of filled in or just jumped to the conclusion that it was also a natural conception. But at the same time, I'm sure maybe this article was like, I'm sure they have to go through drafts before they they don't just put it out there willy-nilly. So maybe it was, he only gave specific quotes from James Cameron for us to read, but maybe he did say that it was a, naturally conceived, but we don't actually see that in the quotes from James Cameron. So basically we're at the, at the point where it could be that if she was really naturally conceived and there was a father, or maybe there is no father, but it was just a natural birth, like it just naturally did. She was born from Grace's avatar. Do you have any thoughts on that little theory there?
So we're back to almost square one with Kiri then. Yeah, I mean that's super interesting. I hadn't really thought about it like that, or I guess looked real closely at what James actually, what words were literally his versus the person writing the article. So I kind of like that though, because it kind of helps inject that mystery back into Kiri just a little bit more.
Yeah, because it could be that thing where we will just assume here, you don't even know who your real dad is, and the kicker later on, and the reason why she is special is because how we were touching, we're the only way that this doesn't make it the whole Messiah, Jesus situation was the Immaculate Conception. But now this would kind of bring that back to the board. You know what I mean? So that would literally check all the other boxes. Okay, so that is why she would have these, this further connection with the plants and creatures of Pandora that others don't, and whatever other abilities or whatever that we'll see going forward. So I just thought it was interesting. I was like, that's actually a good point. So maybe TBD on that one, I guess.
Yeah, that really is an awesome point. It's got my mind turning again.
Yeah. And let's see here. So we will wait and see this boy make his own sins. That's not what I meant, you know. And then he says, but I didn't know what I meant anymore. I mean, Neytiri had every right to be worried looking at my own kids. I know the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And here's where, this panel right here, guys, this is where it gets really interesting. And I think you have to do a lot of they don't really clearly spell it out for you, but I think they do tell you. It's just kind of like reading between the lines type of thing. But here we go. We start a little flashback 15 years ago. So it hasn't been 15 years then, or at least that's when, Spider was or that his mom met whoever the dad was, which we don't know who. But here we have a lineup of RDA soldiers, and we have Quaritch talking to them, and there's Spider's mom right there. Marines aren't supposed to fraternize, or however you say that word. These two guys are like, what about Socorro? Paz? Out of our league, bro. Mine too. I think that right there is one of those read between the line type of, at least that's the way I took it. So if the random soldiers are saying, she's out of our league, mine too, I think that's just to illustrate that most of the guys there, the average Joes, just seemed like she was out of the league for them. You know what I mean? So I think
took it that same way.
So I think it insinuates, yeah.
No, go ahead, buddy. What were you saying?
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna finish that I think what it could be insinuating is if she's out of the league for the average Joes, then it might take somebody who's above an average Joe, maybe the person right there talking to the average Joes.
I agree, and you see the other people that she's sending in line with are all looking, they're all out of tension, looking straight ahead, but not her.
Yeah.
She's looking right at him.
Yep. And you want to get these pages or these panels here?
Yeah, but you put him on a planet 1 million miles from the nearest bar, and things happen. Spider was one of the first true Pandoran humans. There was more than our fatherless birth at Hell's Gate. There was more than one fatherless birth at Hell's Gate. In a lot of ways, that kid is more Pandoran than I'll ever be. And in that top right panel, the black and white one,
yeah,
I mean, look at that outline of the male. That just screams Quaritch.
That screams Quaritch and the Quaritch haircut, bro. I mean, I know some other guys, if you go back, you could say maybe. But really, if you really look, though, they don't really have the Quaritch haircut. You know what I mean? It's kind of really, really different. Dude, I'm sorry, but that's Quaritch, bro.
That's just one of those things they're not going to flat out say, Colonel Quaritch is his father, but they're giving us hints, they're letting us figure out. Now, is it possible it could turn out to not be true? Sure. But I think they're being pretty clear about who the dad is, especially with that name.
Exactly. That, like somebody says, Christina says, that is 100% Quaritch's silhouette. I agree. Guys, I'm sorry to say, Quaritch is Spider's dad. Why are you all calling them Joes? Just a figure of speech. But yeah, and you're right, Christina. Boss means peace in Spanish, ironic or appropriate. But basically, I like that though. Good thing you pointed that out, because I do speak Spanish. That is actually a cool thing. You kind of get both sides of the coin there, between like the yin and the yang. You got at least at that time, the human Quaritch was like the epitome of evil. But what if his mom wasn't? But sometimes you just can't help who you fall in love with. If her personality was more like her name, like peace, he's got both, the peace and the hate. You know what I mean? So maybe his mom's side wins out in terms of the whole, him wanting peace going forward in the stories. I don't know. It's a cool way to look at it in a way. But yeah, especially with very early on in this, how we just talked about it, they revealed his name, his true name is Miles Socorro. Why would his name be Miles? Why would his mother have given him the name Miles? Because obviously it seems like she was the only one there at birth, or whatever. Like the dad wasn't around anymore at that point. Why would you name him Miles if that's the name of the colonel? If it was just some other guy, you know what I mean?
Right. And calling him, calling the birth fatherless.
Yeah.
So obviously, Quaritch, being who he is, can't take credit for having a child.
Yeah. They ask a great question. Was Spider born before Jake arrived or after he arrived at Pandora? We don't know for sure. We do know that at the beginning of the flashback, sorry, it did say 15 years ago. But like I said, I don't think it's pointed out yet how long after the end of the first movie, or what, how many years later this comic starts. So it could be maybe just similar time or something like that. Maybe he was like a few months old, or maybe a year or two, maybe.
Yeah, because looking at that bottom right panel, I mean, I'm going to assume that's what Hell's Gate probably looked like before, the final battle. So I'm going to assume that he was born at least some point before then.
Yeah,
versus her being pregnant.
Yeah. Because obviously we're referencing that he was born at a time before they went into battle, during this flashback. So, and you're right, you're seeing the sun come up. Man, a lot of sunsets and everything. I love those panels in this volume 1 so far. But here, let's finish it off. Here are the last two, I believe, of this backstory here. Spider grew up without a dad, or a mom. Paz Socorro died in the last great battle, and I had something to do with that. Talk about the sins of the father. And like me and you are in agreement that is not like, I think very initially, if your eye just looks at that panel, you might think that's the Quaritch getting shot by Neytiri's arrows, like through the amp suit hatch. But this is a pilot or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably a Scorpion pilot, single seater. And I'm going to assume this is Jake, or, maybe not literally Jake who killed her, but at least one of the warriors when they were attacking in the final battle.
Yeah. And I think he just means like, he had something to do with that. Like you said, even if he didn't do it himself, just the fact that he was on the side that did, I think that's why he would just still kind of put the blame on himself. And just to go back, I believe you're right, because I believe maybe that's kind of why they're even showing us there in that bottom right. We're seeing a lot of the, the flying RDA ships there, the Scorpions and things like that. Maybe, hinting that she's like a pilot, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then here's our very last one for this stream, guys. You wanna cover this last one here?
Sure. So yeah, I cut the kid some slack and hope he doesn't turn out like his parents. We see Spider with Kiri. Thanks, Kiri. Sure, monkey boy. Us orphans have to stick together.
Exactly. And yeah, man, that's very, very interesting. I honestly didn't think something like that was even going to be hinted at in the first volume. You know, it's especially like this isn't even towards the end of volume 1. This is more getting towards the middle of volume 1.
Yeah, they went right at it. I mean, there was no messing around. I mean, you could tell this was a James Cameron script, or at least taken from it. There wasn't. I don't know. It was just so. The story to this first volume is just it's deep. It's rich, and unlike a lot of comic books where there's a slow build up and then by volume 3 everything's crammed in together, this just hits the ground running. And I mean, this isn't even all of the first volume. I mean, we're what? Not even maybe a third, a little over a third through it.
Yeah, because this is page 30. We went to page 38, and this panel right here is actually the very top panel of page 39. I just felt that was a fitting panel to end this stream on, with both, you know, Spider and Kiri there, basically the two most mysterious characters, you know, just kind of like a good final panel there. But so basically we went to like page 39 out of about what, like 86 pages. So
close to halfway.
Close to halfway. Yeah, man. That was I hope you guys really enjoyed that, but anybody not think at this point that that Spider is not Quaritch's son? I, like you said, I do love it that it wasn't literally just stated for us, but it's like very it's hinted at very clearly in a way for me. But yeah, man. It won't be a total surprise then. I'm sure in the movie it might be played out, especially if you didn't read these volumes. You know, it's going to be, I assume, a very big reveal. You know what I mean? But at least for people that did, you know, read these going into it as the prequel, it wasn't 100% spelled out for you. So you could have a little tiny bit of doubt. But I believe, you know, I can bet on it at this point that, yeah, Quaritch is his dad, man.
Yeah, I love when things aren't completely spelled out and you just, I don't know, it's up to you a little bit to use your brain, figure it out. It also gives them wiggle room too. Like there could always be a curveball that totally throws us off, which I don't think will happen, but still, it's always fun when things aren't just black and white.
Exactly. Some guy says they were trying to be subtle about it, but it's pretty obvious. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. But yeah, it's just on how, you know, it's like, what does this arc mean? Because obviously we also have somebody that's like, no, I am your father. No. You know, you got the whole comparisons between, you know, Luke, Darth Vader. But it's just like, I hope they surprise us with how they go about it going forward, even after that revelation. You know what I mean? How does this change Quaritch's arc? How does this change Spider's arc? It's going to be very interesting to see. Is learning this, is this why he might be smiles with the recoms? Is this what can potentially make Quaritch, you know, down the road turn, you know, good, quote unquote? Yeah, man, it'll be very interesting to see. We already know from Total Film, there was a, you know, that little article that he's going to be conflicted already just on like what he is and who he is. So it'll be, you know, with that confliction already bothering him, him already dealing with his human self and his avatar self, and Eywa eventually, it says right there, you know, getting more and more of a hold on him, even though he thinks he's in control. What would him finding out that he's, you know, the father of this boy that he didn't even know? Because I'm assuming, you know, he didn't know. You know, I'm assuming maybe he didn't even know he was born, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know how that would play out.
Well, it also helps explain why Neytiri was so against Spider, because that's kind of a side of her we've never seen before. So until we learned that, it was just kind of like, whoa, you know, Neytiri's harsh, but she kind of has good reason.
Yeah. And it does bring up the question: Do Jake and Neytiri know, like, that he was the father, or for them is it also kind of like they know who the mother was, because maybe it's in like the record, because I assume that's in the hospital records and all that. You know what I mean? And but maybe they don't know who the father is. Maybe she didn't write the father down, so it'll be like everybody might learn, at the same time. But maybe they do know, and like you said, that would explain why she's been very reluctant. Because I had told you in the past, I'm like, their descriptions of why she is so distant with him, it doesn't really correlate with what we know. Like, she even fell in love with somebody in a way was a human. So to be very, reluctant to be affectionate with this human boy, it just kind of didn't make sense to me initially.
Right. Which is just another piece of the puzzle of why, we think it is indeed Miles Quaritch's son.
Yeah. Oh, Charlie Wood makes a good point. Says Jake and Neytiri know that Quaritch is Spider's father, with the quote, sins of the father. So it could, I'm inclined to think they are. Like you said, it does explain why she would be more hesitant than not to be very distant to this boy. Because I don't believe it, if they're really, bringing in the humans and they're at peace, and they've, the humans and Navi have been very, very friendly and everything throughout these years, it'd be very strange that she would just still be pushing this one particular boy away for no reason when they've been accepting of the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I saw a question in the chat. It was Lynx Cat 1. She asked when our next stream is going to be covering the next section of the High Ground Volume 1. That is a good question.
I guess we'll kind of determine. I mean, maybe tomorrow, if we can fit it into our schedules, maybe
sometime this week for sure.
Yeah. So no promises on tomorrow, but as soon as we can get another stream out to cover. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we might finish the whole second half, or we might break that second half into 2 parts, depending on how long that takes us. Because I think we get into more, a lot of newer stuff and a lot of good material, chunky, discussions to talk about in the later half of the book.
Yeah, there's a ton in the book, and like you said, a lot of what we dealt with here was just kind of getting us back up to speed, so it was kind of easy to go through it. Plus, we'd already seen 7 of these pages, but all the new stuff coming in Volume 1 is brand new, and I would say it's probably going to be 2 more episodes, like Jerry just alluded to.
Yeah, but with the Volume 2, especially if everybody's loving these, I had a ton of fun. Hopefully, not just me and Drew kind of discussing it, but I had a ton of fun, kind of like this, like, all of us, even people in the chat just chiming in, because it's great, like all of us kind of going through it together. And what we'll try to do with Volume 2 is try to have those out like almost as soon as we can, because that one drops on the 30th, right? I believe the comic shop date is the 30th for Volume 2.
Yes, I believe so.
Which is a Wednesday. We might not have, the first stream that day on Wednesday, because obviously we got to read it, kind of digest it first. Maybe the following day on Thursday, but that one as well, we'll try to get those out as soon as possible, and will be broken up into multiple parts. And obviously we'll do the same with Volume 3. Like we said, our goal is to try to get these all out to you guys before the Way of Water drops. Wow, no pun intended. That way, you guys basically know the prequel going into it, because as of now, Drew just told all of us, even me, that it seems the retail date might even be pushed back another month till after the Way of Water. So that is pretty insane, man.
Yeah, it really is, and so that means Volume 3 is going to be pushed back. I would probably assume February, um,
Wow.
but it's still showing December 20th right now. So as of right now, it shows it's coming out before Volume 2.
Yeah. But
It's
yeah,
not
I
looking
mean,
good.
so at least, me and you, we were like, okay, maybe this volume one, I wasn't as prepared with the local comic shop because I was kind of counting on maybe a digital dropping, at the same time as comic, but we now know that they're holding the digital back until the retail drops. So now, guys, you might be looking at, I mean, if volume one, wait, did you say volume one stayed December, or that one did get pushed to January, or was it just volume two?
My email was just about Volume 2, but
Okay.
I will look right now at Volume 1 and see.
But yeah, so it could be that the digital for volume one is not till December, and obviously volume two, January for digital. So hopefully these were okay, and everybody got to see, you know, the picture, the panel's pretty good. We did our best, and but yeah, I hope everybody had a ton of fun. I sure did. Somebody said, even if I had the book, I'd tune in. It's fun to do a read along like this and have little chats on the side about things as we go. Exactly. And that was just our goal, is to, like, we're like, hey, let's, not only is the book hard to get, but even if it was, readily available, I would still love to, do this anyways. It's super fun to not only kind of get Drew's opinion and, me and him back and forth, but you guys that are tuning in live, thank you so much. It's been super fun. But yeah, I hope this was an awesome place to kind of end it on. I was hoping we would have time to get here, because yeah, we just kind of got Kiri's Origins recently by James Cameron. He kind of let that out before Volume One really did, but now you guys kind of got basically Spider's Origins. I think we can leave the stream knowing, confident that we know, obviously, his mom, Boss Socorro, and now I think everybody's in agreement that his dad is Quaritch. So yeah, thank you all for doing or tuning in.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. I wasn't sure if very many people would because they wouldn't want to be spoiled, but it's been a lot of fun, and thank you for just participating in the chat. It'd be a little bit boring if it was just me and Jerry talking back and forth, but it's super fun seeing what you guys think, any questions you guys have. So we just appreciate you guys tuning in.
And then we have the Topic Podcast Network. Albert, thanks for tuning in, man, and supporting. He says, loving the stream, mates. Thanks for spreading the word on this hard to get volume. Albert from the Avatar Podcast. Thanks so much, man. Links Cat, I hope to get my hands on both volumes by the time the sequel releases. Amazon doesn't sell the volumes until late December. Yeah, it was late December for both 2 and 3. It was kind of they actually had 1 week after another. You had, December 7th, then December 13th, and then I believe December 20th, which was a few days after the movie came out for the third volume. But now, Drew got an email that volume 2 from Amazon is now, he won't get it till January 10th. So, I mean, he's going to cancel that because obviously we're going to get our comic ones, comic shop ones, November 30th. So, but yeah, guys.
And Volume 1 has stayed the same. The bookstore release is still December 6th. But like you just said, Volume 2 is now January 10th. And I'm assuming Volume 3 hasn't been updated because it's still saying in December. So look for that to get pushed back as well.
Yeah. You know what? I think they heard you, Drew. I think they heard you say, for the major retailers, how could you do literally a volume a week? Like, for some people, they might not have, the $75 before tax to drop on, 3 volumes all at once, literally like one after another. So they're like,
At
okay, we're
Christmas
gonna,
time.
we're gonna space them out. But now it's like, guys, that's crazy.
It's frustrating because we've been waiting on this book for 3 years. Like literally, it's been 3 years now. So I wish they had got it in order a little bit better than this, but it is what it is. So we'll enjoy them as they come out.
Yeah, would have been great, like we have said in the past. The 3 months before, kind of like September, October, November, or October, November, and maybe an early December for Volume 3. Like perfect, that would have been like a perfect lead into the Way of Water. It's gonna work that way, sort of, for the local comic shops, just not for majority of people, major retailers, digital things like that. But yeah, guys, at least we will. If you guys keep tuning in, we'll keep you guys informed. We'll keep doing this as often as we can, as soon as possible for the rest of Volume 1, and Volume 2 drops later towards the end of this month. We'll also get those out as soon as possible, because literally we have, let me bring up the release date again, because we actually do get them, I think, one right after another. We have November 30th for Volume 2 in comic shops, and then the very next Wednesday, I believe, we have Volume 3 drop. So, ooh, man, that's going to be kind of interesting right there. Just 7 days apart.
And while we're on here, Jerry, I'm going to double check Dark Horse's website and just make sure that they haven't pushed back those comic store releases real quick.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
So it's showing, it's still showing Volume 2 as November 30th.
Sweet. So, yeah, and I made sure to ask my local comic shop, November 30th, and they're like, yep, as long as the comic shop release date doesn't get pushed, yours will be here on release day. So yeah, guys, we'll have those. Wow, just 7 days apart. So those will be some interesting streams right there, kind of back to back, just boom, boom, boom. A lot of Avatar High Ground streams just going into the Way of Water. But honestly, wouldn't have it any other way. Like I said, it's kind of like getting 2 Avatar movie stories, since we know these 3 volumes kind of equate to one movie. And that's kind of crazy, man, because like just this one volume has a lot of events. To think that these 3 combined were just one single movie, that's kind of insane.
Oh, absolutely. And look how little that, we made it not quite halfway through the first volume. So a sixth of the material that we're going to get here. And I mean, a ton of great stuff already.
Yeah, man. But all right, that's where we're in right there, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this this rough little read along here with these photos of the actual physical book. But I hope everything worked out great. Had a ton of fun. Thanks for tuning in and chiming in. Also, that's been the most fun. But yeah, we'll don't know if tomorrow it could be possible, but as soon as we can, we'll come out with our next part. Continuing discussing this first volume of the High Ground. But yeah, any last words, Drew, before we end it here?
No, again, I just thank you to everybody for tuning in. If there's anything you want us to see us cover a little differently, what's the next 2 streams of Volume 1? Let us know. Like if you want to see the pictures for longer or just anything that we can do to make it more enjoyable for you guys, just leave us comments so we know. And thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And this is going to be us signing off right here. We'll let you guys know. I'll put it on the community tab and on our socials. We'll put it out there when we're dropping the next one as soon as possible. But yeah, see you guys next time. Have a great night or a great day, whatever time zone you guys are at. Thank you so much. And we see you in the next discussion of Avatar Volume 1, The High Ground.